What's up, everyone? Adam Gelman here. Excited to have another panel discussion, this time to discuss the most recent release of Blockbuster Immaculate WWE. As always, joined by an awesome panel of individuals who, have had a varying amount of experience across the WWE card world. But I wanted to get their viewpoints specifically on Immaculate because we feel like it's time to add a number of new voices to the channel. It's important to have a wide range of opinions. It's important to have a lot of different people on and expressing kind of how they feel about things. And we know that this is fun. Like, it's meant to be a good time, and this is always a great opportunity to hear what people are thinking around the hobby. So I'm gonna kick it off. I'm Adam Gelman. You can find me on Instagram at WWE Gelman, on Twitter at SC Uncensored. I'm going to toss it over to my partner in crime, Ryan, here, who finally has a social handle to offer here, and then we'll pass it around. So, Ryan, go ahead, bud.
Well, I'm fresh off my Botox appointment. Hopefully, it's nice and smooth now.
Right.
Good.
Hey,
Ryan Shear. I'm on a number of these videos. You can find me Instagram at Non-Sport Showcase.
there we
Uh,
go.
yeah, so it's basically just a show off thread of non-sports and wrestling items I have. So and you can get a hold of me there.
Awesome. Who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead and go. My name's Nate Emerson. My handle on Instagram and Twitter is DRC Collector. So
Wearing an awesome Oscar shirt. I love
yes,
it.
I'm wearing a awesome "No one is ready for Oscar"
Are you ready
shirt.
for WrestleMania? Is she going to take the belt off Bianca?
I sure hope so, but I could also see it kind of being like a traditional Japanese thing, like they did with the Great Muta, where he loses in his farewell.
She's not going to win.
No,
You
no.
you never know.
Give her a
Okay.
3-month run as old Oscar. No, she's staying around. Character's hot.
I love the new face paint though. It's so cool. The evil
Yes.
clown. Like,
Oh,
I know
it's
she was.
amazing.
I know she was Kana in NJP or in Stardom or wherever. But yeah, like getting this finally into WWE is really cool.
I always feel
So
bad for the wrestlers who wear face paint. Like hers is very elaborate. Like she's not getting that
yeah,
done in 45 minutes. Like I always feel bad for them. Like they're just sitting there for 3 hours or you know.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm Run Good Life, aka James. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/Run Good Life. We live stream group breaks twice a week on Twitter. Run Good Life, a little more spicy over there. Run Good Cards on Instagram as well.
Awesome. All right, last
Well,
but
I
not
guess I'm
least.
last. I am Jacob. I go by It's Cobb. You can find me It's Cobb everywhere since college. So that's just kind of what I roll with.
Nice. I love it. I love it. So as mentioned kind of in the opening here, we're talking about Immaculate today. And we've had a lot of fun with this product. I think for the first time, it was the opportunity to tackle the sell sheet, then into the checklist. Now we're kind of in the post-mortem phase here. So I guess the first question, and we'll start with Nate here, like, what is your first impression as you have experienced Immaculate through first off the line into the hobby release? Like, what's been your initial sort of look at this product? Like, give me kind of your first take on this here.
For me personally, there's just so many ups and downs with it. Like the good parts of it are really, really good, but the bad parts of it also really, really annoy me.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those love or hate depending on the card relationships.
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy of kind of like ups and downs because, I said in one of these videos before, like this is going to be a controversial product because it's really expensive at the highs and probably pretty cheap at the lows. So Jacob, what's your kind of take on this initially? Like right off the bat, I know you've broken some boxes even recently, I think on YouTube.
Yeah, I've ripped a whole case. I try and do one case per product, and this is all like fairly new to me. I've only been doing this like a year. I'm mainly a figure guy, and I just wanted my hands in even more wrestling stuff. And I didn't know what to expect. I was heard it was kind of like compared to Impeccable, and I opened some of that, so I just kind of rolled with that as like my guideline going into it.
Yeah, and you're kind of a newer collector, so like this might be one of your first experiences with a product like this. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Like what do you think overall here?
Kind of like Nate said, it's hit or miss. It's either really good or it's a kick in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, from a box break perspective, absolutely.
Yes.
James, what about you? I think you've ripped quite a bit of this, right?
Yeah. So I've done a box of First Off the Line and a box of Hobby for myself, but then we have a pretty active wrestling community. We're able to run 2 group breaks a week by wrestling, and we actually break it in a way that nobody else does. So we do it by wrestler first letter of their name. So we have like A men for AJ Styles, A women for Asuka, and like a bunch of combos. Like we combo up like FOV and X and PQ, and W and things like that. So we've actually broken, I want to say, we have 1 box left in our 4th case, and then I just have 3 more coming. So we're ripping close to a full case of it in our breaks, and we do other products too. And I have to 100% agree with you guys. You know, I do all the sports. So I've done Immaculate baseball, football, basketball, and Immaculate. It's always one of those products where they have some amazing cards on the sell sheet, absolutely amazing cards. And then you get into practice in the wild, and it almost feels like a smoke show. I mean, those cards that you want are so few and far between. They're not even 1 per box. Maybe they're 2 to 3 per case. And that's exactly what has happened with WWE. Just like baseball, just like football, you know, you get some really bad boxes that are feel bads. And then that 1 card comes in the 3rd box after 2 bad boxes that just like makes it all kind of seem worth it.
Right.
And Immaculate, I always look at like Immaculate, National Treasures, Flawless, and Impeccable kind of together. Immaculate always seems to be the one that gets a lot of hype for the name, and then it always feels like it underdelivers. And that's a little bit where I am. It's kind of weird that we have Impeccable and Immaculate kind of competing against each other. I guess we can talk about that later, but yeah, I feel like, you know, the highs are highs, the lows are real low.
Yeah, that's a really interesting take, because I think I remember back to when Exquisite first came out in 2003-04, and you would get these boxes where, you know, that was the first time anybody was really paying like $500 for a pack of cards. And like, I remember some of those boxes just being absolutely brutal. But then you see kind of like the really like collection centerpiece cards coming out, and you're just like, oh God, this is so awesome. And it just inspires kind of that gambler sort of a approach to a lot of this. Like, you either hit it big, and everybody remembers when they get those blockbuster cards, but man, it can be few and far between. Ryan, what about you?
I think it's a single buyer's dream.
Yeah.
I think if you're in the market for singles, your dollar is going to go really far in this set. I just saw a Macho Man base card out of 5 Emerald go for like $89, that's pretty cheap for that card. So there are some big dog cards in this that are going to reach $2, $3, $4, $5, $6,000. But I think on the whole, you're going to be able to pick up singles relatively cheap, and you're going to get some really nice stuff for your buck. If you're opening as a personal open and not a group breaking, you're probably going to get killed.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. And that's pretty traditional Panini products, right? Like, you know, if you're in this for buying the singles, and you're really sort of getting into this to add to your PC, and you're not really ripping case after case and stuff like that, like, yeah, you're going to have a lot more success. And that's just true of really many products that are out there, not just WWE, but baseball and football, especially. NBA gets even further down that path, because there are some NBA cases that aren't going to return, you know, 5% of your money. But I think, you know, from my personal perspective, like, the cards that I'm seeing, like, at the top of the mountain for Immaculate, are unlike anything we have ever seen for WWE. In some cases, across any sport. Like, some of these relic cards and some of these things that are going for crazy money, like, I've never seen anything like that in WWE. And we've had high end products before in WWE that have, you know, really sort of hit it big with collectors, Undisputed, Transcendent, stuff like that, Impeccable earlier this year. But this is really like the first true sort of look at what a Panini premium box break is going to look like. And I think a lot of collectors weren't prepared for it. So they're kind of buying it 1 box at a time because it's expensive, and they're getting absolutely destroyed, because traditionally that's what happens when you rip a product like this. So I want to start, like, let's go into this from like those highs and the lows. We'll start with the highs. So, you know, James, like, if you had to look at what worked really well for this product, what would be your kind of places to start there?
Yeah. So I have some things written down. The first one I would probably touch on, I think it, you know, I just talked about how it's, you know, a rough set. I still think it was the correct choice.
Right.
I've thought about this a lot, because I have a lot of exposure to NASCAR too, and they only get 4 sets a year. And so with WWE, I think we're getting what, like 6 off the top of my head. I think 6 is
6
the
or
number.
7, yeah.
And I think this was correct. Like I said, I think it competes a little too much with Impeccable. It's kind of weird that Impeccable got the green light. If I was at the start of the year for WWE and I was like the program manager, I'm like, okay, what sets are we going to roll out? I wouldn't have had both Impeccable and Immaculate. I would have kept Immaculate. I think I would have swapped Impeccable for something like Obsidian. I think comes in a little cheaper. Still kind of that same vibe. But I think that the Immaculate set, you look at what high-end set you want to go with. You could have went with National Treasures. I think Flawless is too far out of the price range to talk about. I don't think you can do Flawless justice without doing it for $1,000+ in this hobby economy we have. So I think that it was the correct set choice, number one, Immaculate. Just you can do so much with it in terms of patches, acetate cards. Though I mean, there's a couple of missions that we will talk about later. Number 2 for me, I think that the curation of the photos was correct. The Stone Cold Beer Bash card is awesome.
Oh, it's awesome. So cool.
Just some of the moments that they chose, they're absolutely remarkable. And for me, it's like you're gonna remember that moment. You know where that was from. It's not like a card, with Topps. I'm trying to figure out on this Topps Heritage card where their picture was taken, like what year even on some of these cards. And then the other one was just obviously with most of these releases, especially the later ones, Impeccable, Immaculate, we're seeing a lot of passion on the design side. So it's not being designed by baseball guys who design baseball cards over at Topps, who are now just copy pasting the templates over to WWE, which I did feel like on some of the flagship WWE top sets, which was kind of why I didn't collect so much of the top stuff. They were just copy and pasting the baseball designs over to WWE. So there's like a lot of passion in the checklist. There's a lot of like intent and thought with certain cards, the Bloodline booklet, obviously. McAfee having a card in this set. I haven't seen it yet, but I know he has it. Which is
2
big,
of them,
which is big because he hasn't had a card since like 2016, and his cards sell for big money. So it's not like they just like shoehorned that in as like a gimmick. Like it makes sense because we've seen like Michael Cole cards, Jerry Lawler cards. So it makes sense for McAfee to have one. And then things just like Solo's first on card. I believe these are Solo's first on card, right? I think there were stickers and Chronicles and maybe Impeccable too. I don't think he was Impeccable. So there's a lot of intentional thought with the checklist, and those would be probably the 3 big things that I thought worked really well.
Yeah, no, that's a really good rundown of it. And I think the competition between Impeccable and Immaculate, like I've seen that comparison drawn online a lot. I think they're very different in sort of like the look and feel, like the motifs that they use in the design. But yeah, I think like from a competition perspective, like although the format's a little bit different, like stuff is a little bit different, like Impeccable feels like more of a set that is aimed at like people who really want great looking cards. Immaculate is much more of the Panini standardized sort of premium product release that has just these banger chase cards, whatever. Yeah. So good call out there. Nate, what, like if you had to sort of look at your top spots here, like what do you think hit the highest highs for you with Immaculate?
For me, I love how many different variations of patch windows that they use, whether it's small ones, big ones, horizontal ones, vertical ones. That's something that we didn't see in Impeccable, which, I mean, first off, I still love Impeccable very much.
I do too.
But just the lack of different patch options in that, I was really excited when Immaculate came out because, like I said, there's a whole bunch of different versions. Some people only prefer horizontal patch autos. Some people prefer vertical ones. There's something for everybody. That plus, I will just go word for word for what I wrote on my notes. Just acetate. Yeah, the acetate cards look so good. And they're always good chase cards, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they brought them over to the wrestling. And then the last thing that I have is how specific they got with the mat relics. They tell you what night from WrestleMania, what WrestleMania.
Awesome. And I went to it, so it was like that was key for me. Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah, but just being that specific just blew me away. It's not just like, okay, yeah, this is a WrestleMania used mat. No, it's WrestleMania 38 night 1. Or whatever it might be.
This
Brock
mat is
Lesnar's
from no
is
specific event or arena
Yeah.
or coliseum or day or night.
the Brock Lesnar, one of the Brock Lesnar jumbos is from SummerSlam, and it was cool that we were breaking it and somebody's like, oh, that's when he had the loader,
The
and he ripped
tractor,
ring up.
the tractor,
yeah.
I want to know if the ones from night one, like if they got one of the ones that's just covered in beer and if it smells and it just reeks. And I haven't gotten one yet, but I want to find that out.
I just want to know if there's any Cody Rhodes ones that are like, this is the mat that Cody Rhodes tore his pectoral muscle off the bone on. Did you know that Cody Rhodes tore his pectoral muscle? They don't remind us
knows.
every single broadcast.
Yeah, no, that's the key is like when you have like the opportunity to tie something specific to a really important event. And I think in football and baseball, like they really haven't been able to establish value when they do that. But for wrestling collectors, where it's all based around those moments, like I think that's a really cool element. Ryan, what about you? Like, what's your takeaways here?
Well, I think that where they really missed on the first off the line offering and Impeccable, they made up for it here in Immaculate.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I think these cards are absolutely worth the extra money you're paying for a pack. I think they're designed beautifully. I haven't seen any ink issues, which acetate sometimes has if they use the wrong pen. It's just an incredible effort, and they look really great. And I'm kind of bummed that my guy doesn't have one in that set because I'd love to have a Brutus Beefcake one, but no, wasn't meant to be. But I just think that the first off the line is just the value is absolutely there to pay more for those packs.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I wrote down was the return of WWE logos in the one-on-ones.
For sure.
We're seeing a lot of WWE logo specifics to the one-on-ones, which goes back to the previous comment of that there was some thought put into this and there was some love and care when this set was constructed. It wasn't just like, okay, well, we'll put the logo in the 1 out of 49, but then we're going to put a plain white swatch in the 101. So these pieces were.
I'll touch on that later because I have a little beef with that personally.
Okay, all right.
Well, we all got to be somewhere with this set. I mean, nothing's perfect, but I think that in that case, the WWE logos as the 101s is a good choice, and I like it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I know they started it in Select. They didn't really do it at all in Impeccable. Like they really made, and like if you look at basketball and football, like the logo 101s for those sets are always huge chase cards. Like you see big bounties on them. I know they've incorporated it now into Flawless and into National Treasure, so it's not as special anymore. But I remember back where there were only a couple like real 101 logo autos, and one of them was in Immaculate. People really gravitated towards that. Here is really like the first deliberate sort of look at that. All right, Jacob, I hate to save you for last, man, but I know you got some stuff to say here. So what's your high on Immaculate here?
So the thing that really blew me away were the patches. And I know we kind of touched out on it already, but I'm mainly an autograph collector. I don't know why. It's just, I like going to shows, getting autographs. That's kind of my thing. I think people know I'm going for the full Prism base set of autographs, and I'm like 85% of the way there. But nice. The patches blew me away, and I've always just kind of, it's just a little relic, whatever, cool, like a matte relic. But like as you guys said, these are specific, and I know based off like Twitter and everything, the Rhea Ripley patches have been ridiculous. Even like I had an AJ Styles card, and it had a little window on it, but it was like a star, and it had AJ written in.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
I was like, that just blew me away, and that's the main thing that really stood out to me because, like I said, I'm mainly autos, so this is a whole other world for me.
Yeah, that's it. That's a really cool card that you pulled, and I saw that in your video, and I think there was a lot of call out and a lot of speculation on just complete misinformation out there about like what was used to create these cards. But this is the first time we've seen like the WWE shirts that we've always grown up with, and all the color, all the faces, all the shit that they put on these shirts finally getting into these sets. And I think they did a tremendous job of that. I think you're right. Anything else, buddy?
I've seen one specific example is like the 3 members of Toxic Attraction. I have seen someone else's face on their cards. They're all kind of mismatched, but they're all pretty cool. That's just another one that kind of stuck out to me. But everybody touched on pretty much everything else on why this product was so good.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. I really, and you guys have kind of touched on it as well, but I want to go into the relics a little bit further because for a lot of these, there's different types of relics for the first time. Like we're getting hoodies, I think we saw basketball shorts I saw for one of Becky's cards. Like they've done like a lot of different things. We saw Rhea Ripley with leather jackets. I think Becky has some leather jackets. Like there's all sorts of like, I think Street Profits have some like basketball, like tube socks or something like that. Like that was a really cool sort of thing to see. And it's something that Immaculate is really known for, right? We've seen like the laced up sort of things in the hockey cards and stuff like that. So I mean, like that was really cool to me as well. And I just taking that relic a little bit further because for years and years and years, all we got were matte relics for tops. And I think, and sometimes with Undisputed, you get a shirt here and there, but they're usually one color. Here we're having full faces, like just some of the most ridiculous swatches that I've ever seen. And it's not just for this. It's for all sports. Like when have you ever seen like a relic like some of these cards really show up in other sports? And the prices and the values on those cards have really reflected that. I mean, people are paying $600 for a card out of 50. Like that might be record for like all sports, not just WWE. So I really like that. And somebody already mentioned the acetate cards. I love those as well. One thing we really haven't talked about is kind of the multi-signed cards, which are all on card. I was very excited to see that. Like seeing quad autographs all on card. I know there's a bunch of redemptions. We'll get to that later on. But the ones that are live, like, look tremendous. And the dual autograph 101s with the logos, as Ryan was saying, well, chef's kiss there. Really good stuff. So yeah, I think overall, like that, like we talked about at the beginning, right? The highs of this set are really, really high. And the chase element in a product like this needs to be there, right? We can't have one of these like super premium products and have zero chase. And I think this has a really key element of chase with like the quad autographs being so low numbered, the booklet card, obviously the logo. So that was all big sort of wins for me. But with every big sort of win, there's also a tremendous amount of loss. And we've seen some of the things really sort of rear their ugly heads. So Jacob, like where are you starting with kind of like your could have been a lot better area of this set?
Well, going back to the autos thing, for such a premium product, it kind of was a slap in the face when I pulled a out of 99 Theory auto that's a sticker, but the other autographs in the set of his are on card. And the lack of consistency with stuff like that really kind of threw me for a loop. Because I was expecting like impeccable, like on card autos.
Everything,
and stuff
yeah.
like right. And I understand, like, I guess a little more relaxed on the quad autos or triple autos because I understand it's probably hard to get 4 people to sign one card, especially if it's like some of the legends or whatever. But it is what it is. Let's see. Oh well, the Bloodline booklet that makes a lot of sense for being the stickers.
Hard to get 8 people to sign a card. Yeah, I got you. Especially when 2 of them can barely travel. Yeah.
And I think this is in somebody else's notes, but I'll kind of introduce it. The cut autos. I think this is something that like would be a really good time to see it that we haven't had introduced yet. We're going as far as having a Matt Riddle flip-flop relic, which I completely forgot to mention.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Autos. Of like, who was it that said? I think it was Ryan that said it. Of like people that have passed away. Great time to introduce stuff like this because we know there's stuff floating around. So I guess that was something I kind of would
there's a ton of autographs floating around.
Right.
Big Boss Man, Mr. Perfect, Macho Man, Elizabeth, Sherry. I mean, there's tons. There's tons. So, but that's my hill to die on. It always is.
Right.
I feel the legends. There's not enough legends in this set. So, my personal opinion.
No,
yeah, the cut autographs is a really key one because we haven't seen that for Panini this year, right? Can you guys think of another Panini product this year that has had cuts? I can't.
I thought if we were gonna get them, Immaculate would be the place because I doubt we're getting Flawless at any point.
Right.
We had
Immaculate would be the place.
We had a handful of cuts as far as other sports go. We had a handful of cuts in Flawless Baseball. I think there was a Babe Ruth and a Lou Gehrig. There actually was cuts in National Treasures Baseball, but it's really weird because there's some players who are still alive and they have cuts of, and that's
that's
really weird when you open a booklet and it's a Roger Clemens cut, and I'm like,
He signs
why is it
all
not
the
a
time.
sticker?
Drives me fucking crazy.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's the
You
worst.
pull a
Drives
cut,
me crazy.
you pull a cut, and it's Goose Gossage. You're like, what the fuck? This guy's alive.
That guy.
My initial
nonstop.
reaction, if I do that, is, wait, did they die?
Yeah.
Oh shit, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Let's break it out. Let's break out Wikipedia.
I mean, but on this subject, like that, this was probably my biggest thing about this product is, if not now, when are we gonna do cuts? Is it gonna be like a fully loaded type of product that's gonna have cuts with one card? Like, when are we gonna have cuts? It has to happen. Like, we gotta have some Macho Man. Like, we gotta have some Boss Man. I mean, there's just so many names. I know it's not expensive to buy these, and just cut them up. Leaf does it all the time.
Yeah.
Panini does it all the time.
Yeah, Panini. Yeah. But I mean, when are they gonna do it? How are they gonna incorporate it? I think, like, if we're only gonna have 6 or 7 products, like, this would have been the one, because it makes the most sense, because Immaculate has had cuts in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was my biggest feel bad about this set.
Nobody has gotten more mileage out of that Walter Payton autographed phone card than Panini.
Oh my god, they bought like 10,
you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Like 10,000.
There's that like 1995 phone card that you can buy for, on a good day, like 50, 60, $80 maybe, and it's an authentic Walter Payton autograph. It's a really nicely designed card. It's a phone card, and they'll buy that, slap it in a frame, label it 101, and the damn thing sells for $1,500 when you could buy the fucking phone card that they made it with, the whole thing. They're not cutting off his body or anything, for $50.
What has been done more, that or a cut auto of Stan Musial from his own COAs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, when he signs his
yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah. All right, Nate. So what are some of the other things that you wanted to talk about for things that could have been better?
So already touched on stickers of the guys that had on cards in the product, but also stickers makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, at all. If you're gonna use stickers, I understand sometimes we have to use stickers. Design the card to have some kind of like a sticker window or something like that. I know in sports cards, we saw a lot. Early years of Obsidian were gorgeous cards, but they were marred by stickers. Eventually, they started using the design to kind of have like a sticker window, so it didn't look as out of place. Do something like that. Don't just slap a sticker on a design that is meant for an on-card auto.
I'm the opposite. I like when they hide it, and I'm completely the opposite. I don't want the window. I want it to be hidden in the design.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, build in the design to where the sticker doesn't seem out of place.
Gotcha. Okay. I see what you mean.
That, and I'm so tired of the inconsistency. Like, I know my boss, Chad, he likes collecting LA Knight, but he won't touch Max Dupree stuff.
The short-lived maximum male models, yes.
And in this product, he's in there as both. Impeccable, he was in there as just LA Knight. Prism was just LA Knight. Select, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Knight. No,
okay, yeah.
LA Knight, yeah. I pulled a gold of his.
So why are his like regular cards in this set, like his autos and whatnot, Max Dupree, but he's on a dual auto with Gunther, and he's on a triple auto. I forget who else is on that one. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, that's tough.
You thank Vince McMahon for that shit.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But we're how many products in, and on every product prior to this, he has just been LA Knight.
Chronicles. Well, so Immaculate was led in by Chronicles. Chronicles did have Max Dupree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, why were there earlier products
Yeah.
correct, and then they got less correct. It's not like he went LA Knight back to Max Dupree back to LA Knight.
That's
So
a good call out.
I have this theory with Panini and even Topps, because Topps Chrome Baseball is an extremely old set. We just had Ben Baller come out, and there's players that didn't play for the team that they're on, that they were on in 2022. So I have this theory that the pandemic and we heard issues with printing presses. Some of these sets were designed months ago, and that's why we get that. You know, they can't just quickly update.
That's why we get that, but design them in the order that you're gonna release them.
Yeah, an interesting one for me was Kaylee Ray from NXT UK
versus Alba Fire.
Well, on the back, the card number, they didn't change a card number. They were able to get her name changed and the sticker changed on the card and select. But on the back, the initial for signatures is KLR or whatever. And I had some people ask about that. So you can just tell, like, they designed some of these sets and then maybe made a little tweaks, but they kind of probably sat around for a little while before they got them off to the printer.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think production timelines historically have been about 6 to 8 months from beginning to end. And, you know, with Prism, it was crazy because they had people that had debuted like a month and a half before the set came out, and they have a card in the set. But for this, it's like, yeah, I'm sure that they especially for the on-card stuff, like they got to get those out and got to get those printed so they can get them to the wrestlers from the sun. Like that's a whole different ball game with timelines. But yeah, with the stickers, and if you're gonna have a sticker autograph, there's a lot more flexibility. It seems like. I hear you, man. Like, especially if you're a PC collector who only collects like Gunther, and he's Walter versus Gunther, or Pete Dunne versus Butch. Like, there's a lot. And that's what's been so problematic about this era is like Triple H went in there and just changed all the gimmicks back to what everybody loved them as, instead of the stupid like Vince McMahon. You know, I'm gonna bring my NXT guy up and completely revamp everything about him. Like, so that was good to see on TV, but problematic for a card set. So yeah, I hear you. Ryan, what about you? What are some of the things that you would like to see that you didn't think worked as well here?
Okay, so let's just do it.
Get it out of the way.
Let's just do it. Redemptions.
Yep.
Okay. There's way too many redemptions in this set. Way too many. Now, if you go on social media, you've got these apocalyptic people who scream that they'll never be filled. They'll never be filled. Never ever. They'll never ever make these cards. But then you see the same people selling redemptions. So Is that fraud? I'm not sure. I'm going to check into that. But fear not. They're going to get them signed. Okay. There may be a couple outliers that don't get done if someone passes away. But for the most part, the triples, I'd gather that probably 2 of the 3 have already signed it. And there's always a common theme. So like Batista's been redemptions pretty much steady.
But he's gotten his card signed. Like they've actually shipped a bunch of them. Yeah.
Right. So any card that has Batista on it, this probably signed by the other guys or girls, and they're just waiting on him. This stuff will get done. They're going to get it done. They've got, Adam, how many more years for the license?
At least until 2026. Yeah, I think is what we sort of determined from the announcements. Yeah, they've got a while.
It's 3 years. They'll get done. But I really think that they really should have gotten some of the marquee cards done. Like they should have gotten the Stone Cold, Undertaker, Mankind, Triple H card done. Those cards, you don't have to get them all done.
Cards, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to get them all done, but get like Undertaker and Kane. Get that card live.
Especially on the sell sheet, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to mock it, at least, put the effort into getting a couple of the really, really big name on-card autographs done so people can at least see it and feel better about the process.
Yeah.
Because if they see that, then they're like, okay, well, they got that one done. They'll get this one done. And redemptions suck. No one likes them. Okay. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. I don't like them either. I just got off the phone with Topps a couple hours ago. Been waiting on a 101 Amanda Nunes nickname gold ink autograph for 3 years now. That card is probably $2,000, $2 or $3,000. It was even higher a couple of years ago. And now they're going to call me back next week and I guess offer me something for it because they told me today they're not doing any more UFC. But I digress. I'm getting off topic. So the redemptions, calm down. They're going to get them done. Just relax. Okay.
Yeah. So like the redemption issue is a really key one because unlike the sports where the NFLPA, the MLBPA, the NBAPA forces the players to participate as part of the deal as joining those organizations, here the signings are almost entirely managed either by a legend and their agent or the WWE, who is historically with Topps and going all the way back to Fleer even. They are really bad about this. And they basically have a window, a very small window to get these signings done. They bring them to events, they bring the cards to the events, whether that's Royal Rumble where they have, 60 people there at least to participate in those matches, or they're at WrestleMania where a lot of the legends come in to be a part of the event. If you're not at one of those two events, they are sending the cards to people who probably don't have a lot of experience signing these cards. And so you get a lot of mistakes, you get stuff not returned, you get damaged cards, because a redemption doesn't necessarily mean it isn't signed. It could be a damaged card they need to remake and have re-signed, which has happened multiple times. So I mean, like, I think as long as people are patient for those events to come around, like, I think we're going to see a lot of these redemptions filled pretty quickly as we have in the past. Now, Panini's customer service and Panini's sort of historical sort of success in these areas has been really problematic. But they've got time to do it, and WWE is committed to their fans. Like, that is their one goal, is like making fans happy.
We're going to wake up one day and there's going to be a blog post from Panini and they're going to have like 75 cards done. That's just the way it works. Yeah. We're going to wake up like, hey, we got impeccable WWE autographs in, and you're going to click on the spreadsheet and it's going to be 18 pages of cards they got done. That's how this animal works. And if you want multi-signed cards, that's what we got.
That's the way it works. Yeah, they already are shipping. The Ronda Rousey ones have already shipped. So I did get a message from the big Ronda Rousey collector out there. What's up, Josh? He said his Ronda Rousey cards have already started shipping, which is crazy. Like, it's only been a couple of weeks since the product's released. He redeemed them right away. He's already getting shipping notifications. So that's cool.
Well, and it's not scaring anybody, because we saw that one quad go for like what, $4,000 almost?
Yeah,
3,800. So that guy's got a lot more faith than I do. I don't think I would pay that for that card.
On the other subject of redemptions, though, one of the problematic things down the line has been Panini kind of waffling on whether or not expiration dates are hard or not, or whether. Yeah. So here's the problem with this product. I think it all has to be ripped before that. It's going to be weird when the expiration date comes and we're all going to know what it is. I don't know if it's like. I don't know. I've seen plenty of.
I haven't had a redemption from this, so I can't tell.
It's probably 2 years.
Yeah, I think it says 2024, like late 2024, or like end of year 2024, or something like that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
The
to
Rick
these boxes.
Boogs that I bought the other day had an August 8th, 2024 expiration.
Okay. It's gonna be really
18 months.
Really interesting to see what happens to these boxes if some of the major product hit chase cards are not pulled yet, and we're waiting to see that Bloodline Booklet 101. A year down the line, if that thing doesn't show up, like, that's going to be a major chase in all the remaining product. On the other hand, you're kind of racing against the clock, because now if this product next year in 12 months, let's say 12 months, or next June or next July, this might be an $800, $900 box, and we might have a next year's version out already. But yeah, do you want to risk it and pulling a Stone Cold, Mankind, Undertaker, Kane quad auto redemption that you're not sure you're going to get or not, because you don't know where Panini stands? And even if we know the card they're fulfilling and it's past the expiration date, like, it's just a real gray area with other sports, whether or not you're going to get it if you try to redeem it.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
The other problem is that once we hit August 8th, 2024, now we've only got a year, maybe 15 months until the license has gone away too.
Right.
So if you redeem that card in June of 2024 and you're expecting a quad autograph and the months start stretching into years.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going to stop Panini, like Topps did with me with UFC, saying, we don't have the license anymore, we can offer you a replacement? And this is not like other sports where if I have, let's say, a Mike Trout autograph, you can offer me a Derek Jeter autograph and we can kind of figure out apples to apples, right? Wrestling collectors are not going to want baseball autographs or football autographs or basketball autographs. They're not.
Or
They're
even
going to want wrestling autographs. Yeah. And if you've got one holdout that's screwing up the entire line of redemptions for that, it's going to mess up everything. So not to mention the wax value is going to plummet once those redemptions are expired.
Yeah, and there's usually a redemption per box at this point from what we're seeing on average. And, you're getting like 3 or 4 per case. And they're big names, right? They're Roman Reigns, Ronda Rousey. Like, they're really big names that are part of these things. Hopefully, they're fulfilled pretty quickly. But the difference between also baseball and football and basketball collectors is they collect a team, they collect multiple players. Wrestling collectors are historically much more focused on super collecting a single person, right? Nate, you collect Shinsuke, you collect, specific people. If Shinsuke was a redemption and they come back and offer you, Mr. Fuck All, like you're not going to want to get that person, right?
I don't know. That sounds like a pretty. I mean, if there was a Mr. Fuck All, I would probably collect them. To be honest,
that's fair. Okay, I bad analogy.
Well, they would have to upsell. So if you're waiting for your Shinsuke, they would have to offer you somebody substantially better because, like
Ivar. Ivar.
Yeah, they're not gonna replace.
I'm gonna throw up after that comment. Oh, the Viking Raiders.
Yeah. So
all right, so I'm gonna move on from redemptions because we could be here all night bitching about redemption. So the second thing I have is, and I've had this comment and this opinion on other sets. I feel there is a market for unsigned.
Here we go.
Inserts. Here we go. I'm going to do it every time until I fix it. How cool would they take the induction set with the Hall of Fame and their pictures from the actual induction? How cool would it be to get like an Ultimate Warrior from the night he was inducted?
Yeah.
Or just pick any of these guys who have passed on, number them to 99, make them acetate. I think you're looking at a great market. I really do. I think we're missing an opportunity to incorporate deceased legends into this set. We have living legends, and that's great. I'm glad these guys and gals are still here. But we're missing out on, like I said before, Boss Man, Mr. Perfect, Macho Man, Elizabeth, Sherry. Just go on down the line.
Right.
There really is.
Andre.
Andre. Bobby Heenan. I mean, there's a market for legends, and there's a market to incorporate these people into these sets. Obviously, you can't get them signed, but make them as part of the set. And I said that about the Impeccable Hall of Fame, the induction numbers. What do you think a Macho Man out of what was 2012? Macho Man card out of 12? That card's $150, $200 probably.
Yeah.
I think the feel bad there is it either has to replace the base card in the box or it has to be a 7th card in the box. I don't want. It's a cool idea. I like the idea. I like it a lot, especially serial number to the introduction year.
Oh, you got him.
I don't like it replacing. I don't like it replacing an auto though.
No. It would replace
card in there.
It would replace a non-signed card.
So here's an option. What if they release this as an online exclusive and they just gave you, like, you bought a set of them unsigned? Is that acceptable? I knew you would do that. I knew it. So
the last thing is, and it kind of, I don't like the full body shots for the base cards.
It was weird with it cropped out with the full body.
It's weird.
It is weird.
They're like little tiny people on the cards. I don't like it.
That's how cards work. They're tiny pictures of people.
Mr. Real Opportunity.
I would rather have a tiny picture of the top half of the body filling out the card.
So
like the Macho Man card, he's like walking out, and it looks like that LeBron Prism.
With the dunk,
dunk card, where he's like a little bitty LeBron James.
Yeah.
So that's my
gripe.
But
LeBron James got a cramp just from you doing that.
I squish your head. Yeah. So yeah, and I had a couple other things too, and I think one of the biggest disappointments for me, and I'm only going to cover one of mine because I want to move on to some of these other things because we did spend a lot of time on this. But I'm really upset that they didn't coach the wrestlers to sign their nicknames. Like on those nicknames.
Yep.
Oh my God.
The biggest failure of this set is that. Number one, the biggest failure.
I'm so upset.
Who was the one that surfaced?
So there's a couple. Beth Phoenix signed hers. Don Morocco. Yeah. There were a couple that did. Dolph Ziggler has a few.
To that point, you're telling me you can't get Brutus the Barber Beefcake to sign? He signs that anyway.
Yeah.
Like you can't get me an on card of my guy Brutus.
That impeccable. I pulled an auto.
Yeah, and I think that's really that was my big set. Like I wanted those inscriptions. Inscriptions are my jam. I love inscriptions. Wrestling. I mean, Jake, you collect figures. I know you've probably experimented a lot with inscriptions. Like
I'll have quotes.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like that's the content. I think the content I was looking for, not having, Charlotte Flair sign the Queen or Seth Rollins sign the Architect or whatever they had for his nickname. Like his autograph sucks, and Becky's autograph sucks, and Roman's autograph sucks. Like having the inscriptions adds something to that, and it's the bane of my existence that their autographs are usually terrible because WWE trains them to sign quickly so they can just churn through thousands of fan autographs because the fans are important, right? Yeah, there you go. So I mean, like that was a big deal to me. I was really upset about that. Now I know that when they bring this back next year, I've already sort of had some discussions with people about like who was missing from the set. Like we didn't get a Roman head of the table, we didn't get Becky the Man, whatever. So I want them to hear this, and next year when they do this, I want to see inscriptions. Like that's my big thing.
Either
All right,
nicknames or like sayings.
something.
Like an
Just
LA
give me
Knight that
something.
just, yeah.
That would be awesome.
So, and that's just the way it is. See what I did there. All right. So, that's just a fact of. Well, I forgot what his line is. Anyways, so let's talk about what we would change. And I know this is kind of on the similar vein. So let's not talk about the things that really didn't work, but what would be something you would change about next year's set? Like, what would you like to see different? Jacob, let's start with you. Like, what would you say is something that you would like to see different in the Immaculate 2023 versus 2022?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it. I haven't
Okay.
thought about it. Come back to me.
All right, we'll come back. I put you on the spot there. Nate, what about you, buddy?
Um, Personally, this is where Ryan's idea comes in. I would like to see an extra base card spot. It could also be some kind of insert. Like Ryan said, we have some kind of Hall of Fame insert, some of like the lessons that have passed, have something in there for them. I mean, you have 3 base cards in Impeccable, but only 1 in Immaculate. I want to see that extra spot. Just, I mean, it's also just another place to hit because you can skunk hard on this product if you're
Yeah.
joining breaks.
Mm-hmm.
If I skunk, I'm going to feel ecstatic if I pull a base card out of 65 or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and they're selling well too. Like the base cards aren't
Yeah.
doing poorly for bigger names. I hear that. I hear that.
I haven't ponied up the money on Nikita yet. I mean, her base cards are over $100.
Jeez.
Yeah, her stuff is crazy.
Not surprising.
I sold a Gigi base for 45 or 50, I think, the other day.
They go for a lot of money. The Becky 101 went for $1,800.
The Shinsuke sold tonight for 216. I was like, what?
Whoa.
That's a big number. Group breaks, we put anything over $100 in a one touch for people. And we put a Terry Funk Emerald to 5, and I was like on the fence. I'm like, oh, this might sell for $100. And people thought I was crazy, and I'm like, you guys need to look at the sales of some of these base cards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to that like there could be a lot more variety in the set. Like I think if you're watching break after break, and I know James, you do a lot of these, so you probably are experiencing this. Like it can get really repetitive, and the box hit is always the last card, and it's always and leading up to it, it kind of gets repetitive. But the relics have added some fun to that. I will say that watching box breaks just to see what the relics are that they pull has been really fun. That's like dynasty level breaks. Like when you're watching Top Dynasty, that's one of my favorite breaks to watch because it's quick and you get to see some really awesome cards. Like that's why I watch these breaks. But I hear you, Nate. Like adding some sort of variety there, where we could have like some fun, like to Ryan's point, like fun cards that would consistently add value without adding cost and autographs or relics. I think would be a really good idea. Anybody else have anything they would like to see changed?
I got a couple things.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'll go. Just to piggyback on what you're saying, absolutely. We like I said, I've ripped probably a little over 20 boxes of this stuff, and it just seems like if that second or third card in the box isn't a banger memorabilia with like a sick patch, the first 2 autos out are gonna be mid tier, and then if you get to that point where you're on your final card, you're like, well, this has to save the box, and then it's like Sheamus, and you're like, oh, it didn't.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
The one thing that I would definitely change for next year, in this product at this price point, look, I understand in Chronicles you have a retail SKU, you have blasters, and it's $160 a box. I understand you have to fill a lot of autos with that set just with retail. I understand if you're going to put Omos in there. I understand if Eric and Ivar have to have separate autos, but if we're going to charge this amount for this product, if it's going to be this level, this one of their top tier products, every tag team auto has to be a dual auto.
That's a good call.
I'm tired of seeing Ivar. I'm tired of seeing Eric. I'm tired of seeing. I love Montez Ford. I want Angelo Dawkins with him. Like every tag team should be a dual, unless they were like a legendary tag team or something like that. Every current tag team you're going to put in this set, it's got to be a dual auto.
I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah,
love that idea. Jacob, you were going to say something too?
All right, so the first off the line boxes, I noticed with Impeccable, I don't remember the exact number, but there were 15 or so of the red colored stainless cards.
Yeah.
And every single one of the names were strong. There wasn't a single weak first off line exclusive.
Yeah, good
call. But
yeah.
for Immaculate, I saw people paying it sold out at $487, then like $40 tax, all that. Anyway, it was expensive. And they pull a Xavier Woods autograph numbered to 6 or less. Yes, we love Xavier, but Xavier is not going to help you recoup really any of the box at all. I would like to see like a more narrow, exclusive.
That is a really good call out. And I mentioned that in the video, the first off the line video that I did, is like, you can get one of these really expensive boxes. Now, the good thing is that those are extra hits in the box. So for this product, the first off the line cards are extra hits. They're 7 cards instead of 6. And so that was a plus. But to your point, like, we're not buying this a first off the line box to get like the regular box content. We want that special acetate card. And yeah, the checklist was a little weak on some of those things. So I agree with you on that for sure. That's a really good call out. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think for the following years, there needs to be a sense of continuity. I'd like to see the inductions come back with 10 or 15 or 20 new people on top of it. Maybe again, incorporate in some of those unsigned cards. I said the same thing for Impeccable. I'm a real big like living set guy. And if I'm going to do a Hall of Fame WWE set, I want everybody signed or not signed. I want all those cards. So to omit, like I said before, to omit the unsigned legends, I think is a big miss. But if you're going to come back with sets, some continuity would be nice. Same design as the inductions of this year, just different wrestlers, and they have to ensure the nicknames are signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're going to have a nickname set, but you know what? This is not just wrestling, because this has happened across all the sports.
Yeah, Tom Brady never put his nickname. Yeah,
but I've seen 3 versions. Right? They just sign it. They just sign the nickname, or they do it the right way, and it's the signature and the nickname, and that's the way it should be. It should be the autograph and the nickname. So I don't know what they need to do to get it through, maybe educate the signers as to this is how it works. And, I'm not asking for, Dusty Rhodes' entire working man speech on the card, but, sign your nickname. Like Seth Rollins, you sign SR, dude. Like, you can't add freaking.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You can't add freaking to 25 cards. You sign SR. Like,
you can't even put SFR?
Yes. Something different. And Dolph Ziggler was signing his brother's nickname just kind of to troll him. Like, yeah, I get that. I also, just in the interest of time here, I asked a few people who couldn't make it to this video, but I wanted to incorporate their suggestions too. So one of them was Jameson, who was on our Immaculate Checklist video. He said he would like to see a then and now set be added, where they have a picture from when they were first in WWE versus where they are now, and having that sort of juxtaposition of like the early days of this star into the new version of the gimmick that they're in right now.
I would pay so much for a Gunther version of that card.
So awesome, because he's big.
What about an LA Knight? What about an LA Knight and a Max Dupree?
There we go.
We'll see. That's not as drastic of a difference between Walter, like early Walter, and Gunther.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then one of the other suggestions that I saw from one of my outreach, and they chose to remain nameless, was there was a continuity set that ran for the Super Bowls across all of these different Panini products I would love to see a WrestleMania version of that. Having instead of the Super Bowl, have the WrestleMania with a photo from that WrestleMania and have those signed and have that be a continuity set. Kind of to Ryan's point, that was another one that was submitted. I think that's just such an awesome idea. And I think a set like Immaculate would, they have it in football. I've seen it in football. They've added these cards to them. They're very rare in some cases because they're kind of like at the end of that continuity process. But man, having, you know, a Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 38, or, you know, just going back to like Batista when he first won, or John Cena when he first won, Hulk Hogan signing, you know, WrestleMania 3, like all of those moment based cards come from WrestleMania.
Kofi
I think
Mania.
Kofi Mania, exactly. Well, they have a Kofi Mania sign. They did have Immaculate Moments.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, it's a really cool card.
Or
But I
you do
also
non-autograph version so we can include the legends. Okay. WrestleMania 1 winner is numbered to 1. Up to WrestleMania 37 winner, there's 37
now you're
copies
speaking my
of it.
language. Now you're speaking my language. I love that idea.
You could do
All right, guys.
every year you could do one moment. You could do like a 37 card set or a 39 card set. Every year just one new moment.
I love it. It goes so far because WrestleMania is what WWE is based around. All right, guys, we're coming up on the end of time here, so I want to get some closing thoughts. Give kind of your final take on Immaculate. You know, give that one last sort of some take here, and then where they can find you on social media as well. And we'll close with that. So let's start with James. Let's end here. What's your one takeaway from this product?
My one takeaway from this product, and I think Ryan said it best. I mean, player or wrestler collector dream. You know, that's my takeaway. This one just has such a ton of bangers. As long as you don't go chasing them. If you want to get if you want to gamble, buy a personal box or hop into a break. If you collect somebody, just wait for their card to pop up. And then yeah, you can catch me on social here on YouTube, youtube.com/rungoodlife. Live stream every Wednesday and Saturday. Twitter,
Awesome.
run good life. Instagram, run good cards.
And thanks for joining. I mean, this is your first time on here. I'm glad we were able to get you on. All right, Jacob, you're next, buddy.
Well, you can find me, It's Cobb, everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, somewhat, mainly YouTube. And it was a lot of fun, but like everybody's saying, it's singles paradise because ripping a whole case of it was, I think I lost like half my value on my box or on my case. So won't do it again, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and thanks for joining on as well. A new voice in the fray. Thank you. All right, Nate.
First off, thanks for having me. I appreciate it greatly. But like you said, my name's Nate. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter, DRC_collector. And my final take on Immaculate, it's great for singles. I still think Impeccable is a better made product.
That's a fair assessment, my friend. That is a fair assessment. All right, Ryan, you're up.
I'm just going to echo what everybody else said. This is a singles paradise. You know, take that $500 you would pay for a pack and go buy some nice singles. I think you'll be happier in the long run. So you can find me on Instagram, Non-Sport Showcase. For our viewing audience out there, first I want to thank you three guys for joining us tonight. It's always great to get new input, different, you know, positive, negative, in the middle. It's always great to get people's viewpoints because there's a lot of points that came up that I wouldn't even have thought of. So it's nice to have all the minds coming together to talk about stuff. For the viewing audience out there, you know, subscribe. Make sure you're checking us out. We do a lot of checklist breakdowns. We do a lot of postmortems like this, and we do it for the love of the game. We like doing it. Adam and I have been friends for over a decade now, and this is just a fun thing that we do to get together to help you out. We both have experience in the sports world. Panini is now in charge of wrestling. They're going to bring a lot of sports elements into wrestling, and we're here to help you navigate that. So we don't claim to be experts, but we'll definitely help you out as much as we can. So
awesome. And I'm Adam Gelman. You can find me at WWE Gelman on Instagram, at SD Uncensored on Twitter. And thank you all for such an awesome conversation. I aimed for this one to be very sort of balanced in the way that we approach this because I really love this set. Like, I think Immaculate is one of my favorite products of the year only because I am a singles collector and I collect one specific person. I don't rip boxes. So I love picking up all the different stuff. And I thought this product was landmark in that respect. But I also recognize that there is a lot of controversial elements to it, the stickers, the redemptions, all of that stuff. But formulate your own opinions and listen to kind of the varied opinions that are part of this discussion, because we're not all on the same page, and that's a good thing. We're just not assholes to each other when we're disagreeing. So really good to see you guys come on. I'd love to have you all back. You guys did a tremendous job, and we thank you for spending the time with us on a night, Thursday night when we're taping this. It's late on the East Coast, and I know for you mountain people it's not as late, but it's I can't thank you guys enough, and great feedback overall. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. As Ryan said, we're going to continue to deliver content like this on a regular basis, post, pre, everything in between, and we're going to do it for as many products as we can. Don't forget to check out some of the other educational type videos that I've put out and on the channel as well. It's meant to bring more attention to wrestling cards. Have fun doing this. So thanks again, everyone. We'll talk to you guys soon.